Morning, afternoon, or evening. It looks like you are opting to watch a video that comes in more than one part, probably because it was lengthy and we like to keep them kind of short so people don't have to sit too long. So this could be a two-parter, three-parter, four-parter. I don't know which one you're looking at, but just wanted to let you know if you are on, say, part one and it has a part two, that part originally will come out on a date separate than part one. So just keep a lookout for the same title name where it says part two, part three, or part four, and you should find your way accordingly. I hope you enjoy, and I hope it helps clear up some sort of concept that someone was asking about. I'll see you later. Bye-bye now. Hey, good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to All Things Social Security. Today, we're going to go over composite jobs. I don't think it's given nearly enough credit, and I think it can be a really valuable tool to present, I would say, at every level. This is something that I would have in my brief. All right. So let's get to it. It might seem boring, but it's really not, and it's so applicable to so many jobs. It's going to be particularly important. It really applies to step 4 of the sequential evaluation process, which applies to all cases, but it's particularly pivotal for those over 50 because of the grids. And when it is a composite job, as we know, the SSA is not allowed to pretend the claimant did only the easy, clean salesperson parts of the job. They have to look at the whole thing. And so here's the strategic point about it when you're defending your claim or pursuing your claim, putting your claim forward. If the job is not a composite job, the SSA can try to deny you at step 4 by saying, even if you can't do it as you did it, Johnny, you can do it as it's generally performed elsewhere. See, we have this description of how it's generally performed in the economy. So, you know, you could, in theory, go to another place and do it as generally performed. But the POMS, the one I mentioned above, which is the DI 25005.020, it tells the adjudicators at the SSA, do not use that generally performed analysis for composite jobs because a composite job has no DOT counterpart. So if your furniture sales job included significant lifting, moving, loading, or warehouse duties, those are substantial components. If your RFC now prevents you from performing any substantial component, your current RFC, the way you are physically now, and hoping to convince the SSA of through your medical evidence, totally different prong, right? So if your RFC prevents you from lifting sofas, lifting that 40, 50 pounds, frequently bending, prolonged standing, or meeting a pace requirement, having to move fast enough, then you cannot perform that composite past relevant work. SSA cannot rescue the step 4 denial by stripping out those duties and relying on a single DOT salesperson description to deny you. Super, super important, guys. I think it goes unused far too often. I really do. And I think there are so many composite jobs out there. I mean, look at my job. My job is a composite job, if you think about it. Yeah, I'm a lawyer, so that's sedentary, no heavy lifting. That's BS. When I buy a new printer, and I'm looking at mine right now, it's like 2 feet by 2 feet, but it's extremely heavy. And it's also very cumbersome in size. Now, granted, I don't have to do that very often, but when I do rearrange the office or move things around, I do have to slide it, move it. I'm not usually, if I'm picking it up, I'm usually just moving it from one thing to another thing. So I try to like slide it over on its current table to put it on a different table. I would say that's also true when I'm cleaning, because as the owner of my own little law office here, who do you think does the cleaning? Who does the printer buying? Moi. So in theory, I'm doing a lot more than just sitting behind this desk that people don't see, right? It would not be in the DOT description of a Social Security disability lawyer. All right. So let's see. If we go back to SSR 24-2P, it sets out how the SSA evaluates the past relevant work and the evidence needed to support findings at step 4. When the SSA evaluates the work as generally performed, it typically uses the DOT to identify an occupational counterpart. The rules might be changing on what they can consider as the source, whether it's DOT or something else, but let's just go with general. The POMS DI that I noted above, 25005.020.025, sorry, slightly different, explains that evaluating the past relevant work as generally performed starts with locating the DOT occupational counterpart. And if there is no DOT counterpart, SSA cannot do a generally performed evaluation unless there is other reliable occupational information evidence. Now put that together with the composite job rule, and now you got your strategy. The composite job equals no DOT counterpart. So for composite job, the classic DOT-based generally performed step 4 denial is effectively off the table. And that's to your benefit, of course. That is why composite classification is very powerful for claimants and SSD attorneys and non-attorney reps as well, of course, as we represent them. So from a practical standpoint, if you want to use this advantage in, say, a furniture sales case, you have to develop the record. You do not want your work history report to be reduced to sales. And we see this problem a lot because when people have jobs that they consider white collar, a lot of people will never mention the bluer collar aspects to that job. Whether it's ego, but it wasn't in my official job description, so I can't say it. Yes, you can. You're an adult up. Yes, you can. You could speak the truth. It doesn't have to be in some official document. You talk about exactly what you did. Bring in that blue collar manual labor aspect of the job. You might want testimony and work history detail showing, and I'm just going to go through a little list here we put together, what was done daily and weekly, how much lifting and the weight ranges, how often loading and unloading occurred, whether warehouse duties were routine, and whether those duties were essential to the job. I would add, if something is done every 2 weeks, like every 2 weeks we have to rearrange the whole store. Yeah, that's only every 2 weeks, but guess what? It's a pretty major component. And if you're expected to be a team player and do that with the team, and you can't do it, it might be that you're not actually a really good fit for that job, right? Because that was one of the job things that were expected of you, whether or not they told you about that when they hired you, and it might not have been in your job description. So I wouldn't stick with only daily and weekly, but I would definitely start there. Sometimes people have, what do you call those things? Those events. Oh gosh, what are they called? You go to different fairs and stuff and they set up their tables. Big companies do it, like Anderson Windows does it. Potentially a furniture store might do that, where they are displaying stuff in a new setting to try to get people's interest and all that, and maybe get their name out there. People have to set those up, move that furniture. You know, those things might only occur twice a year, but it's a big day. It might be a whole week. It might be a whole weekend, particularly if it's indoors, it might be. That part is over. If you're looking for the following part, if there is one, or a preceding part to the same video that was longer, just look under the channel for the same title video. They are named the same, and they just have part 1, part 2, part 3, or whatever part it is. So feel free to take a look, see, and complete the video. Take care.